We're going to work on lesson 11. We are going to explain how fractions are equivalent using multiplication and division. And we're going to use a tape diagram and a number line just to show that. So what we're doing is just the explaining part. So when they ask you, why is this equal, or why can you reduce it or simplify it, you're going to be able to explain it. Okay, so everything that we're doing is just to give you a visual model of it. It's not something that you have to, like, it's not an algorithm or a formula you have to remember in your head. It's so you can see why these things are equal. From there, we're going to really start working on adding and subtracting fractions, things like that. So this is the explaining part. Why is it this way? So you are going to need this paper. It says problem set 11. This one also says problem set 11. This is a half sheet. I don't want you to lose it, and you're going to need something on here in order to answer it. But for right now, this one is just to the side, okay? That'll be on your own later. Don't try and go ahead to start that. The other thing you're going to need is a piece of paper to practice, to draw some things on, all right? I'm gonna do it on the whiteboard. So the very first thing we're gonna do is draw, we'll call it a tape diagram. That's what it is, but you don't have to remember that word. We're drawing out a fraction. So I want you to draw one large rectangle. It doesn't have to be perfect, all right? So how many boxes do we have? Just one. So this whole thing, draw yourself just a little something here. This whole thing is 1. And then I can break it down into any fractions that I want. So we're going to break it down into fractions slowly, okay? And we're going to write what fractions we have as we draw them. So first thing we're going to do is split it in 2. And then this fraction, if you looked over here, this would be like 0 right here. And this is 1. Okay, so do that. If I have nothing over here, I'm starting right here, I have 0. But if I get all the way over here, no matter what fraction I'm using, I have 1. All right? Make sure you're drawing it the way I am, because we're going to write some things underneath. Right here, if I'm at this line right here, that means I've got this whole one. What is this? This is how many parts? 1 out of 2. So once you put 1 out of 2, we call that 1/2. You already knew that. All right? Now we're going to split this into 4s. So in each box, just draw another line. Okay? So let's go back for 1 second. I just want to show you something. 1 out of 1, or 1 here. This is 1 out of 2. You don't erase, just watch mine. If we still had it like this, if I'm over here, what's my fraction? I know this is a full 1. I have 2 out of 2. So I do want you to write that. Draw a comma there and put it. Okay, so now we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this line right here gives me 1 out of 4. This line right here, I've got 1, 2 out of 4. So put that underneath. This is 3 out of 4. And then if I have all 4 of them, I have 4 out of 4. All right? You see that? We've taken one box and we've broken it down. This is 1/2. This is equivalent to it. 2/4 is 1/2. Okay? All right, now we're going to break it down one more time. Each of these boxes, draw one more line. If I had 4, and now each box has 2, 4 times 2 is 8. So still 0 over here, but this is 1 out of, if you need to, count each box to see, 8. Okay? So right here, now I have 2 out of 8. And 2/8, or 2 out of 8, is equivalent to 1/4. What do I have here? 3/4. And then right here, 4/4. Excuse me, I messed up. You have 3/8. I hope you fixed that or caught that. 3/8. Right here, I have 4/8. All right, so look at all of these fractions that are equal to 1/2. I can multiply 1/2 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, right? That's equal. I can multiply 1/2 by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. These are all equivalent fractions. Okay, we're at 4/8, so now right here we're at 5/8. Right here we're at 6/8, and that's equivalent. Next one, 7/8, and when I'm at 1/2, I have 8/8. So I want you to look at a few things. Start over here on the ones. What do you notice? We could have written those underneath, I guess, too. The numerator and denominator are exactly the same. When that happens, you have 1/2. It means you have all the pieces out of all the pieces that are possible. So this pizza or box, whatever I have, had 2 pieces, and I have all 2 pieces. That means I have 1/2. 4 out of 4 pieces, 1/2. 8 out of 8 pieces, 1/2. Okay? What you can see is all the equivalent fractions. If they're underneath each other like that. I'm sorry, I had us put those to the side. If you want to switch them and move them down, you can. It doesn't really matter. It's just that you understand these all go together. Okay? They're equivalent. And I can multiply to make a larger equivalent fraction, or I can divide to simplify, to get it down to its smallest fraction. All right? Underneath that, I want you to draw a number line. Okay, so you're going to draw a line. It needs to match this. Okay, so make it just about the same length. Put the arrows on it. And then just kind of take your, like, don't draw it, but what should I do? Kind of hold it. Like, oh, here's my first line right there. Just kind of draw a dash underneath each one. Go ahead and do that. It does not have to be perfect. Okay, mine looks just kind of like that. All right. Now, what we could do is just go and re-put these down here. And you can do that if you need to for visual. So I'm going to start doing it real quickly. If you can see, hey, this is a number line. You can almost have drawn it right through there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. I did not draw enough today. Okay, you're going to have your 8 lines, but at this very beginning, draw a little bit bigger one. That's going to be 0. At the end, draw a little bit bigger one. That's going to be 1. Okay, still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have it broken up into eighths. So you know you could go through and write 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. Count them as I'm doing them. 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. 8/8. I'm sorry. I totally messed that up. Take this, erase this. Okay. 8/8 all the way up. We want 0 because I want you to see that, hey, this is where we're starting. This is 8/8 is also what number? 1. I want you to think of it like a number line. Don't draw this one. When you see a number line, oops, it usually looks like this, right? I want you to understand that in between these numbers, these whole numbers, 0 and 1, look at how many numbers there are. There's fractions. There's all of these things that are less than 1, okay? In between here, it'll go again. There's all these things that are less than 2, but more than 1. These are just the whole numbers, all right? So the fractions are in between, okay? Look at 2/8. What's an equivalent fraction of 2/8? You can look at the top to, it's not cheating, but to see it. 1/4. How did I get there? If I had 2/8 and I wanted to get to 1/4, 2/8 and 1/4, what am I going to do? Look at those numbers. How are they related? Hey, 4 goes into 8 2 times. I can divide by 2. Whatever I do to the top, I need to do to the bottom if I'm multiplying or dividing like this to make equivalent fractions. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. All right? So we're going to use that knowledge. We're going to practice on another line. So I'm going to erase mine. You're just going to, oops, I just drew on something I shouldn't have. Draw a big line, and then we're going to go on to the next one, okay? So what I want you to do, on this one, I want you to draw a long line for a number line, just like this, okay? And then I want you to set it to the side really quickly, as I forgot. After that one, I want us to do the front of this. Okay, so we're gonna do the front one together. All you're doing is just marking what fractions they are. We'll do the first one together, and then you're going to pause and quickly do it. So go to this first one. I want you to look. This is our number line, okay? So the very first line they give us is always going to be 0, like that, because nothing has started yet, okay? And at the end, if I have all of them, I will have, it gives you it up on top. If I had all those boxes, it'd be 1, okay? Now, they don't give us a line, marker for each one, and that's okay. But just to help yourself, put 1 in there and put 1. All right? Now, how many boxes are there? 4. Is that my numerator or denominator? It's the denominator, because that's how many boxes there are total. So I'm going to put 4 on my denominator, on both of them. Okay, now if I go up to this line, how many boxes do I have? 1. If I go up to this line, where there isn't a hashtag or a little hash mark, how many boxes do I have? 2. Now you can put 2 if you want, but you don't have to. If I go up to here, how many do I have? 3. I have 3 out of 4. Okay, and then right here I have 1 whole, or 4 out of 4. Write that underneath. Okay, so this is what you're going to do on each of them, and then it tells you to circle the fraction that labels the point on the number line that also names the shaded part. So how many are shaded? 1 out of 4. So you're going to circle that one. All right, so I want you to pause the video, and I want you to quickly fill in the number line. You'll have to count to see what your denominator will be, fill all of the little hash marks in, and then circle the one fraction that shows how many you have shaded. All right, it should look like this. This one was out of ace. And this right here, the shaded part is 2 ace. The bottom one was out of 12, so you had to write small to make it fit in there. And then it's kind of light, but you can see that it's 3/12. All right? Okay, so we're going to come back to that. I want you to set that one aside and go back to the line that you drew. Okay? So we're going to break this into 3 parts. So this whole line is only going to be 1 whole. All right? So we're going to start at the first line. I know it's going to be out of 3. So put 0 out of 3. And then we're going to mark it 1/3, 2/3, and 1 whole, which is 3/3. Okay? So I want you to do that. All right? Now I want you to decompose or break it down. Remember, decompose just means break it down into smaller, into 4 equal parts. Okay? So in between each third. So I know this is 0. This one doesn't count. All right? And if that ever messes you up, you could put like almost like a squiggly line through it, so you know. The only reason I wouldn't put an X, that's the first thing I was going to do, is that a lot of times on a number line, they'll either put like a dot like this or an X and want you to tell what is that? What's that spot on a number line? Okay? So I just don't want you to get confused by that. So we're going to break it down so that each one of these, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3, is our 4th part. Okay? So just make them a little smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now how many do I have? If you count them, this is 4, 8, 12. Now I have them out of 12. Okay, so I want you to put where we have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. I want you to put what the fraction is out of 12. Okay, do that and then check with mine. should look just like this. 4 12s, 8 12s, 12 12s. Okay? So what we're going to be working on is something you've already done. It just it hasn't been on a number line. I just want you to see it. That's why we're working on this. 1/3 and 4 12s. How did we get there? These are equal fractions. They're the same spot on the line. How do we get there? We broke it down into how many pieces? Instead of 1 piece, now we have 4 pieces. So underneath, I want you to write 1/3, 4 12ths. We know it's going to equal 4 12ths. What do we do? Instead of 1, now we have 4, so we multiplied. Multiply that by 4 over 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. These two are equivalent. They equal. We can also go the opposite way. I could start with 8 12ths, and I want to get to a smaller fraction. Well, I see on my number line what the smaller fraction is. What is it? 2/3. So write it down. Start with the bigger one, 8 12ths. Remember that division is like subtraction, right? It's repeated subtraction, but it cares who goes first. The larger one always has to go first. Adding, they don't care. Multiplying, doesn't matter. Okay? 8 12ths, 2/3. Look at your denominators. Okay? 12 and 3. You have to think, how are they related? This is why your math facts, knowing those multiplication facts, are so important. 12 divided by what equals 3? Or 3 times what equals 12? You can do it either way. The answer should be the same. It's 4. But because we're going from bigger to smaller, I know I divided. I broke it up smaller. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So these two fractions, they're still equivalent. They equal, but I've simplified it. See that? You can see how here, with each of these, we multiplied by 4 to get the larger fraction, or we divided by 4 to get the smaller fraction, but they're still equal. All right? I think draw a line under that one again, okay? Or you might be to the spot where you have to go on to the back, okay? Go back to the page we just worked on, the problem set, and we're gonna do some multiplication and division there. All right? So, you're going to be on this side. I'm just gonna show you something. Look at the way they say this. I think it's a little bit confusing if I'm going fast. So remember, fast is not always best. Reading well is best. So really looking at it, thinking about it, rereading it, figuring out what is it that they're really asking me. It says, the fraction represented in 1a, that means problem 1, letter A, is equivalent to the fraction represented in 1b. Okay? You're going to write a number sentence using multiplication to show that this fraction that you circled in 1a is equal to this fraction you circled in 1b. Okay? It always tells me that a clean screen is best, but there's a big crack through it. That's why I think it messes this up. Okay, so we're going to write a multiplication sentence to prove this. So you should have room here, or we can use the side over here. We have 1/4, and we know that it's going to equal 2/8. Okay? So what did they do to 1/4 to equal 2/8? How are 4 and 8 related? 2 4s equals 8, 4 plus 4, or 8 divided by 2 equals 4. We're going from smaller to larger, so we need to multiply. 1 times 4 equals, oops. I'd like to blame this on tired brain, but it's the morning time. Maybe I'm just not woken up yet. Sorry. We said 2 and then I wrote 4. 1 times 2 equals 2. 4 times 2 equals 8. Good. What if they told us that we had to write a number sentence using division? Which fraction will we start with? 1/4 or 2/8? 2/8. We'd start with the larger one. You put it over here. All we're doing is saying, hey, these are equal. I'm going to put something in here to show you why. I'm going from larger to smaller. So to break it down, I have to divide. And 8 and 4, how are they related? Same way they are up here. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. That's one way you can look at it too. Like if you, let's just say you just didn't know that. Well, 8 divided by 4 should give me what I'm missing here. Okay? Just like here. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. It's just going backwards. So put your 2 over 2. Whatever I'm dividing on the top, I need to divide on the bottom if I'm trying to make equal fractions. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Very good. You can see that these are equal. Look at our number lines. They come to the same spot. This one is 1/4, and this takes 2. They broke it in half, multiplied it by 2. Good. On the other side, letter B says, the fraction represented in 1A, that's the one on the top, is equivalent to the fraction represented in 1C. Okay? So 1A is the same as 1C. They want you to write a multiplication sentence for it. I want you to write a multiplication sentence, check it, and then we're going to write a division sentence and check it. So pause the video. I want you to make a multiplication sentence down here that shows 1/4 is equal to 2/12, or excuse me, 3/12, and decide what did they multiply by. You can figure it out by looking at the denominators or by counting. Pause and then come back and check quickly. All right, 1/4 equals 3/12, and then we decide what do we multiply by. You can see mine, but you can be thinking 4 times what is 12, or 12 divided by 4 is 3. So they just multiplied by 3 over 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. And I can see, hey, these match exactly up. And they broke it into 1, 2, 3 to equal that. All right, now I want you to pause and write a division sentence to show that. Which fraction will we start with? The one with the largest denominator. Okay? Figure out what they divided it by and write a number sentence with division to show that. All right, your division sentence should look like this. 3/12 divided by 3/3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Good. I want you to write one showing that 1B is equal to 1C. That 2/8 equals 3/12. I'm sorry. That's not true. I don't want you to do that. I'm very sorry. Let's look at that for just a second. I was thinking something else in my brain. I'm telling you, morning obviously is not a good time either, huh? Look at this. 2/8, don't write this. And 3/12. When I look at these, I can't find something that I can divide or multiply. Well, here it's multiply because I'm starting with the smaller denominator going to large. I can't multiply 8 by something to equal 12 because 8's not a factor of 12. What I can do is find something they have in common. Okay? So don't write this. I'll show you it because I messed up. So I'll just show you. Tell me the factors of 8. Easy one is always 1 times 8, right? And then I'm going to think, what else? What else can I multiply to get to 8? 2 times 4, okay? And then remember this, we're figuring out the greatest common factor. What's the largest, greatest is largest, number that also goes into 12? Can 12 be divided by 8? Nope. Can 12 be divided by 4? Yes. So that's what I would use, okay? If I'm trying to find something that's equal between these two. But if I divide, look at this whole thing. This is what we already did up above. Oops. Sorry. I wish I could pause and rewind and just take this part out for you, but I can't. All we did was the same thing. Is I have to think, what is 8 and 4? How are those related? Which is what we just did up here. 8 and 4. It's divided by 2, so I already did this. 2/8 divided by 2, 2. It equaled 1/4. Well, 12 going down, how is 12 and 4 related? 12 divided by 4 is 3, and that's what we used to divide. It's the same thing we did down here. I was thinking something totally different, but I just want you to see that I can't make these 2/8 and 3/12. I can't make those the same way because they don't break down. They don't break down the same way, but they both equal 1/4. 2/8 equals 1/4. 3/12 equals 1/4. All right? Sorry. I know that part was confusing. Don't think about that part. Okay, so number 2, you can just write on front because you just did that. Okay? And then do you remember those little marks that I said means the exact same thing, so you don't have to write it again? They're the little ditto marks. All right? So what you are going to do now, I'll let you check this with me real fast. You're going to put, just like we did on the front here, you're going to put all of the fractions down. And you're going to circle the fraction where it's shaded to. The only difference is they didn't give you a number line. All right? After we do that, then I'm going to show you what you're going to do to prove, hey, I know this. I've got this, okay? So we'll do this first one together, and then you'll pause and do these last ones. This is one whole. How many pieces is it broken into? 3. So this one is 0. We know that. This one is 1, which is 3 parts out of 3. Okay? So then this line right here is 1 part. So it's 1 out of 3. And this is 2 out of 3. Okay? Circle the shaded part. Just like that. Okay? You can see it's shaded. I don't know why it's darker here and lighter here, but it's shaded up through here. And it's shaded up through here. Okay? If you need to shade those in. That one didn't shade very well, did it? Okay? I want you to pause and very quickly write these out. Show where 0 and 1 is, and then show what each fraction is. The smaller the boxes get, the smaller you're going to have to write neatly. Do that quickly and then check back. All right, did you mark these? They're split into 6, and this is 4/6. The bottom one is split into 12s, and it is 8/12. All right, you're going to use that, and you're going to do this one now. Okay, so you're going to write a number sentence using division to show. Notice that the directions are here and the rest of the sentence is here. It doesn't make sense if you just read letter A or letter B. So write a number sentence to show that 3A equals 3B. You're going to use multiplication to show that you went from 2/3 to 4/6. On letter B, you're going to show a multiplication sentence to show that A is equal to C, that 2/3 is equal to 8/12, right? On the back side, goodness gracious. Okay, now I'll just be really honest what just happened. I just told you everything, and I told it to you, right? And the video wasn't on. I must have just touched it and didn't actually turn it on. So now I'm trying to quickly tell you again, and I screwed it up. Don't write the multiplication sentence. It tells you right there. Circle it. Write the division sentence, okay? To show that 3A is equal to 3B. So you're going to write a division sentence to go from the larger fraction to the smaller fraction. On letter B, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to show that A and C are equal. Go from the larger fraction to the smaller fraction. You're just simplifying it. What did they divide it by? Okay, on the back, starting in number 5, A, B, and C, you are going to draw a number line. It says partition. So it means make a number line and break it down into fifths. Okay, and then it says decompose or break 2 fifths into 4 equal lengths. So if I have 2 fifths and I have to make them into 4 lengths, think of what do I do with the 1/5? Each one will be broken into 2. So you're going to draw that here and then write a number sentence using circle of multiplication here to show what fraction represented on the number line is equal to 2 fifths. Once you break it down, you'll have another set of fractions. Okay, use a multiplication sentence to show that. And then use a division sentence to show how you can simplify it back to 2 fifths. All right, I want you to do this on your own. If you need to do Zern lesson 11 first, do that to get more practice. Then you're going to do this on your own. If you get to a spot where you're just stuck, you're like, I need major help, I don't quite get it, then wherever you get stuck, write that on the side here, like I'm stuck, I need help, something, and then get help. All right, this is to show how much you know, what you understood from practicing with the video, practicing with Zern. And then if you're still not getting it, we need to be able to see that to remember, oh, we've got to show you another way, or we need a little more practice with that. All right, go do your very best. And I guess mistakes are okay today because I made a lot of them. All right, have a great day and do your very best on it.